Hello, good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay, just give me a minute. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, welcome everyone to the session. So, this is the fourth week, right? Week four, first session, where we discuss about the practice and activity questions for week four. But I would say that we are yet to finish week three,
Yes,
and
sir.
yeah. So, we are yet to finish week three, and some of the content is still not in place. Regarding what we wanted to show, I mean, what we wanted to say in the live sessions. One important part of that is the solve with instructor session. Okay, so we will be from probably now onwards we'll be moving 1 week behind. We'll try to cover in some extra sessions, but the inability to take the session last time was have to be met somewhere, right? So what we'll do is this session will have a discussion on week three and week four, both regarding the questions and all general doubts that you have. The Saturday session on probably that is on 28th, right? Saturday's session will be solved with instructor, but that will be covering week three content. The reason being we don't want to skip any content, right? So if you directly jump onto week four content and start talking about practical aspects of week four, it will become a bit tough to handle, and then it will again so the content of week three will remain skipped. Okay, so we will not leave our rhythm because of some gaps in the session, right? So yeah, so the session that we'll be having today will be a general discussion, so that we try to cover both week three and week four general doubts. And on Saturday we'll have a solve with instructor session for week three, right? And then from week five onwards we'll try to again take an extra session so that we cover the solve with instructor part of week four also, or we'll plan some session where we can take both the session in one combined session. So we'll do I will plan something like that. But the idea is to not miss anything, not directly jump on any other topic without getting the idea of previous topics. Okay, so yeah, so we'll start off with questions from your side and then we'll try to discuss. Okay, anyone, any doubt? Just unmute yourself and then you can ask question.
Hi, this is Srinivasan here. I have a maybe a silly doubt.
Okay.
So there is a multiple reference to the FWI session, right? And maybe in other courses these are clearly marked as solve with instructor. But in the calendar, I have not seen any solve with instructor. Right? There is a set of activity practice sessions and open sessions.
Oh, okay. So the name is the issue, right? All right. So I have been from the very first session. I have been insisting that the open session that we have on Saturday would be solved with instructor. But okay, so just to remove your confusion, I'll try to. I mean, I'll change. Get the names of open session to be changed to solve with instructor, right? So that there is no confusion ahead.
No, okay. We can have that. Okay, I'll just get that clarified. So then we have had basically so far we have had 5 sessions, right? 2 sessions for the first 2 weeks, and last week was only 1 because the Saturday session did not happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, correct. So all right. So the idea was to have open session. So in the previous terms, we used to have an open session, but the thing was most of it used to get discussed in the first session itself, or the content to remain very scarce. So we thought of clubbing one session where we can have discussion, and then one entire dedicated session to solve with instructor part, right? So that's for that we'll have one session on Saturday. So I guess it is not updated in the calendar. I'll get the name changed so that there is no confusion ahead. The session on Wednesdays will remain practice activity only, and the name of Saturday's session will be changed to solve with instructor. We also I had to prepone one of the sessions on solve with instructor to one day before, because it was not possible on Saturday because of some operational issues. So that session was taken on Friday. I guess it was week 2 itself. Okay, so we'll get that clear. Okay, anything else? Regarding practice activity questions of both week 3 and week 2. sorry, week 3 and week 4, and any other doubts. You can simply raise your hands or directly unmute and ask.
Yeah, again, Srinivasan here. I'm sorry, I take the thing. So, week 3, I am also, I could start only yesterday. So, the lab assignment, I guess you also have been seeing the various questions that have come through and all this stuff. Is there anything else that needs to be discussed for the lab assignment, or do you feel that enough information has been shared for people to complete it? Because the due date is today.
Okay, about that, I guess, so initially we had this last date for submission of lab assignment to be 25th, but then we generally go with the thing that we go with the thing that the graded questions that we give and the assignment should have same last date. So it was, so the thing is, the graded questions had 29th as the last date, right? And the assignment we configured initially was 25th, that is today. So it is not possible to prepone the date of graded questions. So what we did is we kept 29 as the last date for both assignment, lab assignment as well as the graded questions. Okay, I saw some threads where it is showing 15th May. Why is it? I'm not sure. So I hope now it will be 29th because it has been configured as 29th. All right.
Yes, today I can see it as 29th. I think even till yesterday it was 25th, but it's today is showing as 29th. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so the same discussion we had, because it would not be wise to prepone a submission date for graded questions. So we kept we extended the other deadline. So both the things will have same deadline of 29th May. In that case, you will have some extra time to get things clear.
In a way, yes, but even the lab assignments for week 4 also due on 29th. So the 29th is going to be 2 weeks together.
But the due date of week 4 is not yet out, right?
No, the graded assignment week 4 that is still showing as 29th.
Okay, fine. All right. Yeah, correct. So if the graded question is 29th, week 4 lab assignment would be same. So yeah, so in that case, you'll have some extra work to do. But then the thing is, lab assignments are somewhat related. So some build-up is required, not directly from the scratch. You don't have to do it. Okay, I saw some questions on lab assignment. What is the issue? Like anything that is not clear? This is to everyone. Any issue in lab assignment? Something that is not clear?
Sir, I have a doubt in
Yeah, Shashi, but your voice is breaking. I'm not sure if it is only me, but it is breaking from my side.
Okay, sir, give me a minute.
Okay. Okay, meanwhile, Shashi is coming. Any other one would like to ask any question?
So when will the project details be released?
Okay, so the project statement is still under discussion, right? So we are yet to finalize some bits and bits of the question statement. It will be out soon. Okay. Yeah, so we'll try to have it as soon as possible, and it is on the verge of completion. So just don't want to comment on the last date. I mean the exact date here, because there might be some problems that might come on the 11th, right? So it will be soon. It will be out soon.
Okay, one last question on the lab assignment. Sorry for going on that. I think there was some discussion. I think it has been clarified that what kind of packages can be used. Right? because even in the activity session last week, we have been using pandas, right? And then because I have finished MLT, so use pandas. So I don't even know that a module called CSV existed, to be frank, because we have been using pandas, and that does all the work. So standard packages doesn't include pandas, right? So we should not use pandas for the assignment 3.
Yeah. So generally we have the idea that we'll be using CSV as a module for reading out and working with CSV. There is a specialized module called CSV package, right? Which is a standard Python package. So that in this case for this lab assignment, it will be better if you go with that.
And then just as a feedback, sir, because we had done MLTV. So for me, once I see CSV, straight away, almost automatically I do PD.read CSV. So I know I use pandas, right? So maybe if you can specify it ahead of time, saying that use CSV will be more useful for people, because I have to rewrite my code now to use CSV.
Okay, fine. All right, sure.
So 2 doubts. One is, when in the previous lab assignment report you released?
Why is it?
Okay. Yeah. So the reports for week 2 HTML lab assignments will be out soon. You can expect it very soon.
So in the week 3 lab assignments, we have to generate a image and then use the image in the HTML. Is it possible to discuss the procedures for it? Is it okay? There are only 2 procedures to do it. So can you advise on the 2 procedures that are possible? Suppose one has already generated the image. Okay. Either one generates the image and saves it and puts it into the HTML.
Yeah.
Okay, that is one option. Or what you do is you generate the image and turn it into a bytecode, and then you put it into HTML. Are there any recommendations from the team onto which procedure to be used? Because we are not sure if we are allowed to save images or not in the file, generate images and save.
Okay, so we'll try to keep it simple. We will create the images on the run. It should be temporarily saved in your directory, right? And then it should be used as an HTML.
No, that is my question key. Can we say, if I generate an image and save it, will it get saved in that portal? That is the question.
Will it get saved in the portal?
Portal, wherever that this is being run, the plot needs to be generated and saved, right?
Yeah.
Here you need write rights to write it. The image, to write the image, you need write rights. You understood? Yeah, it must be running somewhere in a Linux system, right?
So see, even your submission that you're giving will have only Python file, right? So even it will not even have the HTML, right? So along the way HTML is getting saved, created, image should also be created and saved.
Sir, can I share my experience with the lab assignment?
Okay.
Actually, I saved the .png file, creating histogram image, and then used the rendering, the template rendering to fetch it into the HTML code.
Okay.
And then the code worked fine, and it showed evaluation successful.
Okay, yeah. So you're suggesting that you should, create the file image, right? It should be saved in your working directory and then should be used as an image, right?
Yes, sir. Actually, we have to submit only one Python app.py file, but while running the code, we are creating output.html and the image file for histogram. So it is okay to add those files, add the image file to template.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So while submitting, it should have only one file, that is app.py. But when we run your program, it is allowed to create some files within. So the application should do that. Yeah, you're getting right. This is what we have been saying from the beginning.
Sir, we are facing very much difficulty in submitting this lab assignment.
Okay. Can you be more specific, as in what is the problem?
The specific is that after extracting the data from the data.csv, again, we have not gone through any clue in the lesson plan in the lectures. So how to extract on the conditional data.
Okay.
Because
So
the problem statement given in the lab assignment, whether it has been taught in the lecture. My question is this first.
okay,
Because
so
I
the
have wasted 5 days, total 5 days wasted.
Okay.
I did not, I could not, because I'm not from the programming background.
Yeah, correct. See, so the thing is, there will be some component, definitely there will be some component in the lab assignment which will not be the part of course content, right? So in this lab assignment, reading the data from CSV is not. Okay, we have not tried to cover that. The reason being, the documentation on that is very clear. Okay, the CSV module or the CSV package that you get is pretty clear. You just have to mention the file name, read CSV, and then everything will come. I mean, everything can be stored inside Python in the form of whatever form you want. And then the what we say, the querying, I mean, filtering the data based on what we are putting in is something that can be done by Python also. Right, Python itself. You don't need to have any library. You don't need to have even use CSV for that.
Can be done by the Python, sir. But in the 2 weeks, we have not learned how to get the filtering of data from the data.csv file. Whether data.csv file will be used in the lecture anywhere.
See, I guess in the week 3, sir.
Nowhere, sir. Nowhere.
Okay. See, that's what. See, the thing is.
I'm also seeing in the printout, because maybe it may be covered in the 4th week. I have, because I totally wasted 5 days. So I could not go to the 4th week also.
Okay. So
because the lab assignment is not commensurating with the lecture content. It is totally different.
Okay. See, the thing is, as I said, everything and anything and everything that we're giving as a part of lab assignment cannot be the part of lecture, right? If the lectures are completely exhaustive, there would not be any other resources. We would not have said that, no, see, there is no resource, you just recommend to lectures.
Some resource to be provided, na, sir. How we will learn? We are ultimately learning, na. We are not making a research, na. We are not making a research.
No, but this is research. It's not that. See, the thing is, since it is not mentioned that you don't. This is not a research. Doesn't mean that you don't have to, go out and search for things. You cannot get everything at one place, right?
This is the problem, sir. This is the problem.
Yeah, that's what. So the idea is
how to do that. Because I could not do that. The whole night I sit by searching whether we can get some content to help it. But nobody, I put it on Discourse also. In one line, discussion has been closed. Go to and do this like that. Why the total steps are not being explained? Because we are learning first. Then we will do the problems. No? Without learning, how can you solve the problem? Without learning the driving license, how can you run on the road?
Yeah, I understand that, but this thing is, see.
But we are lagging, sir. We are lagging, no. Because first week I also could not do that. Second week also, the whole week will be passed. Then we will learn.
No,
first we should learn. First we should learn. Then we should do the problem assignment.
Yeah, correct. See, but the thing is, lab assignments are
part of the graded assignment.
No, that's what. That is okay. Graded. I'm not talking about anything being graded, so I'm not open to tell you. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, see, the things that were given that are given in the part of lab assignments have to be, so maximum of it comes from the lectures. Okay, lectures as in the content that we are trying to provide, but there will be some part, right? Some part that has to be taken care of from yourself, because in that case you'll learn better.
So okay. It is the responsibility of the course content creator also.
Yeah, it is responsibility. We understand that.
But they are not providing such type of content.
No.
So
No. So we understand what, see, we also, and see, we have created this course, right? We have created, set some content. We are setting some things that is to be done, and we are setting something, okay, this is
My
something that
question is
has to be.
my two questions is there. The course content and the lecture and this activity questions live sessions. Provide this session to a PhD student who is learning in Delhi University, a top university of the India. Whether he is able to do the live assignment. If he cannot do that, then how can we do that?
So are you referring to somebody? I'm not sure.
No, I'm referring in particular. I'm dropping the course due to this because we are professional. We are putting our time. I put 100 hours, but I could not do that because we don't understand totally.
Okay, see, the thing is, the problem is you might not be looking at the problem. See, you don't have to worry about it so much, right? If you're thinking, if you're thinking that, just give me a minute. If you're thinking that there is a lot to study on this, and then there is very less time, and then how will you cover? How will you get the right resources? That is not the thing, right? That is not something that you have to worry about.
No, sir, I'm not thinking that. I'm not thinking that. I'm just thinking that.
We have to so we have to go through the lectures as my teammates may have given you, may have responded on this course saying that watching the lectures and screencast once will not be definitely enough, right? You have to go through the content so many times. Okay, you have to go through the resources that we are providing. We don't give any specific resource. Why? Because if you go to particular resource, there will be some content which might not get linked with what we are trying to say. Okay, for example, if I say you, okay, for HTML you refer to this resource. HTML is vast. Okay, if you keep on referring that particular resource, there will not be any limit to where to stop. Okay, that is the reason. If we give so if we give certain questions and we say that, okay, you refer to these questions, and based on the questions, you build your idea, and then based on the question, what question is trying to say, you figure out the content. You search the content on the web based on the question. Okay, in that case, you will have certain limit as to, okay, beyond this, I should not go. And I guess this is sufficient. This is something that you will get. And this is something that you will not get definitely within 1 week or 2 weeks. Okay, it is a gradually acquiring thing. You can acquire it. You won't get it within a day or within a week.
No, okay. I can understand. I can understand totally. I cannot learn everything in a day. But
so
whatever we are learning, whatever we are learning, sir, it should be sufficient to solve the problems we are being given to solve.
Correct. Yeah. So that's what. But see, you won't find any graded problem. Not only this in this course. In any course,
we are able to solve all the graded assignments because that is based on the content.
Yeah, that not only this question. The questions from this course, in any course outside online degree also, if you find something, for example, if you go for any assignment, that assignment will definitely will have some part outside of what you have learned. Okay, that will be there, that component will be there no matter where you go. And if you're referring to a person who is doing PhD, in that case there is no limit. A PhD student has to gather all his information from outside, right? So that is the thing. If we are giving some part as a part that a learner has to do by himself or herself, we are expecting, okay, that should be done. It's not that, okay, no, you figure out, we don't know. That we are not doing. If that is not the way of doing it, if you want an assignment that is done only by watching the videos and you should be able to do the assignment, that is not the right learning, right? In that case, how will you explore? Right. So
I did it. What you are telling, sir, I did it. But it is not correlating with the problem assignment because the problem assignment is specific. Because that is totally machine oriented.
Correct. See, the thing is here
it is atomic in nature. It is atomic in nature. Whether it will be submitted or it will not submitted.
Correct.
It is not a subjective type learning. Otherwise,
correct.
it should be, there should be a provision to upload the whatever work we have done. It should be uploaded. That will be treated as the assignment. The two things are required, whether we are learning or not.
Yeah, but the thing is, I am, as far as I know,
Ultimately,
there
the
is,
course is designed for the learning, sir.
yeah, so that's what. So as far as I know, any lab assignment wouldn't say that, okay, you have done only 80%, so I'm not able to accept your submission. That is not the case, right? It accepts. It will mark you. I mean, it will evaluate you based on what you have done. What part of problem statement you can incorporate in your assignment, in your submission is what it will evaluate, right? It will not say. So it is not a objective whether.
But in the grading assignment, it is given that it will be evaluated by the machine. The
Yeah,
machine
correct.
will not be subjective.
No. Machine will not be subjective, but and ultimately
Sir,
the
okay,
code.
sir. I will not take so much time because a number of people are also being disturbed by
No, correct. See,
because I'm just
okay, but
what I
as
wanted to
a,
tell you. I am not able to do this with this content. I going through the net also. It is not possible to do like that. A support system should also be there. If we are learning, then a support system should be there how to do that.
okay, see, so as far as I have seen here on the discourse, your peers have been really helpful, right? If there is a query on discourse, it doesn't matter if a course instructor replies or not. There has always been replies by your peers, and sometimes we also feel that okay, the replies given by
Discourse is
some
very
of the
much helpful,
students.
sir. Discourse is very much
Yeah,
helpful, but
yeah.
not in
So
the
no,
case
you
of this lab
mentioned.
assignment.
I guess you mentioned before that I put the query on discourse and there is only one line explanation. To that I was trying to reply because if I see there are multiple replies by so many people who are contributing because so see this is not so these are not people who are from specific computer science background. They are also learning from outside, right? So some maybe there is some mismanagement or the resources that you are referring to may have gone wrong for this couple of weeks.
No.
You don't
I
have
think,
to.
sir. I think, sir. The problem statement is being given by not the person who is teaching. It should be from the person who is teaching. I think so.
No. See, the entire course work in coordination. If there is a single question that comes out, it comes out from the eyes of everyone. Don't have to worry about that.
Okay. Oh, if
Okay,
it is
so
there, then I think we
yeah,
are not
and
copying or we are not putting our
no. So I
efforts
won't say.
properly.
See, we are giving you time. There are so many queries from your side, so we cannot say that there are no efforts from your side. Efforts are definitely there, but you have to understand that
Or
sometimes
we are
what we
not
were
capable of doing that.
no,
We are
it's
not
not
eligible to
about
do that.
incapability.
Then
No,
how
it's
to do
not
that?
about it.
Then
It's
how
not
to
about
do that?
incapability because we are not learning rocket science here. This is simple application development, and we
That's
are
why I am
going at the
telling, sir.
very
That's why
basic.
I am telling. We are learning here something already been researched by the academicians. So
Okay.
it should be conveyed properly so that we can learn properly by giving the effort.
Yeah.
Total
But the thing
systematic
is,
approach should be there.
correct. But the thing is,
And I think other cases are doing very well. I appreciate it is doing well. But in this case, because these are the courses coordinating with some queries there, some HTML will be there, some DVM, everything is connected to each other.
yeah.
So some difficulty may happen, but support system should be like that. If we are doing some problem,
I'm not unable to get what is your complaint here. Yeah, are you complaining that
complaint is
there
not
is
there.
no
Complaint.
support system? There is
Support
no
system means
what?
support system. I am telling, sir, for the lab assignment, whatever it is required, I think it is not in the lecture.
So that's what I said.
Then how to do that?
20%.
Then how to do that?
You will have to figure out from outside, sir. See, 20% of any lab assignment question statement will not be there as a part of content. This is, I guess, this should be understood by not only you, by every student. And I'm not going with the fixed 20%. I'm saying that there has to be a component in the lab assignment.
It should be 20%. It should be, but I think 90% is outside.
Okay, fine. So this is really getting subjective here because see, I guess you were having some issues with how to rate the CSV file, right?
I have read it. I did it by going through the other resources. I got it.
Okay.
But some other queries are also there, no? So they are not.
Yeah, so you can definitely go and ask the queries one by one, right? See, every time, I mean, if the entire idea is to be asked, then it
Maybe.
becomes very tough, not for only me, but for everyone, even your peers to answer, right? But if question is broken into chunks, read individually, try to club, if somebody tries to club them, then things will get easier, right? And then if you figure out, okay, you come across any issues, any problems, unable to, for example, there are, let's say, 3 to 4 components in a lab assignment. One component which I can see is reading the file, I mean the data.csv into your Python, and then doing whatever you want with that file. One is that component. Okay.
Yeah.
So if that component is hard, just come to know, okay, how should I do that? Right? You can ask to on this course, you can ask through live sessions, you can ask through, you can go through your own, search web and find out. As and From the very beginning, when this assignment, I mean the lab assignment question statement came out, there were discussions on CSV. So some idea of, okay, I mean some idea that, okay, for reading CSV file, I should use some Python package called CSV. If you had gone through the documentation on CSV, it would have been very easy for you to get the data. Once the data is in your file, whatever we are giving as a file, that data.csv, that data is read by your Python, your program, then it becomes simple Python. Right now, the next question would be to to get this thing done. I mean, written in the form of HTML.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, sir.
Now from Python
I
to
take my words
HTML.
back, but I am facing problem.
Yeah, it's okay. Everybody here is facing problem. Everybody is facing problem.
If everybody is facing problem,
you.
this problem should be solved, sir. I think so.
Yeah. So, okay. So if everybody is facing so that's why we are having this.
Or
session, right?
or some more time should be given, because this is time bound assignment. No? I think today is the last. I think perhaps.
Yeah. So so there is an extension, right? So the 29 you can submit till 29, but it will be
No, but the assignment is showing 26th, 25th. Sir.
Yeah. So it has been changed. It has been changed.
Okay.
I guess, yeah. So I saw from. Yeah, so I got what we say feedback from one of the students also in the chat that it has been extended, right?
Okay, if it is there, then no problem. But other 3 has been extended, but this one has not been extended till then.
No, so
Maybe. Let us check it.
Today it is extended.
Maybe. In the night it was not there, but right now I can check it.
Yeah, correct. So you don't have to. Yeah, so if there are, that's what I said.
Sir, I'm not getting panic. Just I'm checking because it is extended, sir. It is so nice. But what I'm telling, sir, we are putting time. We should be, I think, provided with such type of thing.
No. See, I understand there has been some confusion, maybe because we did not have one session in this weekend, right? The weekend that went. So
you
we are short of
nicely,
1 or
sir.
2 sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So if we try to cover that up, we will be on track. That's what. So while starting the session, also I said we are lagging with the course right now.
So
but
what happened last
cover.
time in the week 2, I could not submit because I was careless. I accept because I was thinking that I will do in 1 day or 2 days. I could not. But in this week, I started from the first day. This week I will do it, and I concentrated on the live assignment only. But still, I could not do that till that. I gone through the videos a number of times. Nothing is there in the lecture. I gone through the net. I could read the data.csv.
Okay, but all right. So it's not only about videos, but there are also screencasts, right? Screencasts are quite practical.
Everything, every word I have gone through that. But I could not correlate. I'm not capable of doing this programming.
Okay.
Maybe Python. My Python is weak. It may be. My Python is weak, but still I think so much of Python is not required here. Some, I think, filtering is required, which has not been taught in this lesson. Maybe in Python also it is not, filtering is not there. Anyway, I will do it, sir. Extended. It has been extended. I will do it, but I think I could have done better. If it is provided properly, then we will do it better.
Correct. So we'll try
I think
to,
it will be better whenever like you have a doubt, please add it to the discourse. We'll try to clear it.
Already I put in the Discord.
Yeah,
both of that.
we'll check it out. The problem is like this course is made of many topics like HTML, CSS. Now you'll find the entire course of HTML which is taught in 6 or 7 weeks. Now see, definitely that detailing is not possible within this time. So basically what is focused on how to do this, not going into particular each and every tool, how we can use it. Just the idea is we'll go with one tool, we'll learn how to use it. The similar way other tools can be also used. That is the main idea, to put it in a time frame, right? So maybe the best way we can solve, like it is not only the instructor, maybe the entire team, like the peers and everyone. So we'll collaborate on the discourse more and we'll solve this problem.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you very much. I put so much time, but what I faced, I just shared it. If others are being disturbed, I'm extremely sorry for that.
No, it is understandable what you are telling. Please put more question on the discourse. We'll try to clear it.
I have already put, sir, the whole.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that.
The whole work I have given on the discourse.
Okay.
Where I'm facing the problem.
Okay. Please. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
And if you have any doubt right now, you can also ask, like in the live session, we'll try to solve.
Yeah. Because live session was not due to paradox, so I could not put that.
No. Today also you can do that.
Okay. We will do it. The time has been extended, so we will do it. No problem.
So instead of putting a lot of time, maybe if you're stuck somewhere, so let us clear with the doubt. We'll do it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, please.
Let us proceed.
I had one. Okay, sorry. Wait for Srinivas.
Sir, I have a small request for the lab assignment. Hello?
Yeah. Go ahead, Srinivas.
Sir, the issue is the error codes that are being generated when we submit the lab assignments are very vague, bad code type. If they could be a little more specific, which tests are failing, we can do a little bit better.
Okay.
Is my query clear?
Yeah. I get your query. Okay, but all right.
The error code that is generated is bad.
Yes, Srinivas, your query is entirely correct. Yeah, but immediately it may not be possible, but we'll try to do something. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
We'll consider your suggestion.
Arup sir, shall I answer this?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Yeah, Srivanasan and others, whoever is facing such issue. So we would just like to tell you that this issue will just persist till week 3. For week 2 and week 3 lab assignments, you may get some errors that may not make much sense to you. But yeah, from week 4 lab assignment onwards, you will start getting some meaningful responses as a part of your feedback. So yeah, the week 4 lab assignment, it has already come. You will get the submission link by the end of the day today. And yeah, you can experience that what type of feedback you are getting from this time onwards. So we can probably have a discussion after that. So once you get such feedback, that would probably be a right time to discuss. Was I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Is it okay, Srinivas?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think we can proceed to the next question. Yeah. Anybody?
Yeah, so somebody was raising hand, right?
I think it was Srinivas.
It's done, sir. It's done. Close.
Yeah. Others you can continue. I think it is done.
Yeah, this is Srinivasan here again. So similar names. One part I saw was that I think maybe even SKP also had this. Like, so when I'm just asking that, because I know programming more, less about HTML. So any of the if statements or the for statements, I have done it in Python, right? And I have not used definitely the if statements. This is possible in Jinja, but I've just used it from Python. So I am using Jinja only for the iterating through the for loop, printing the table rows. Right? Is there a particular approach that is suggested that you should try to do as much as possible with Jinja, or is it okay to use Python for much of the computational work and use Jinja only for render?
Yeah, so that is okay. I mean, Jinja is basically what we're trying to put our data, which is dynamic, on the HTML files. Okay, so it is not required to have much of the logical part in the, or I mean the logic that means that does the loop statement conditions and all that needs to be not done by, if that is not done by Jinja, that is okay. Okay, so Jinja, you have to use Jinja only as a templating tool, not the what we say, the manipulating tool here. Right. So if you are able to do the manipulations that are required, filtering that is required with the help of Python, and then simply use those, I mean, the values that you get finally, if you simply use those values and put it in, I mean, render it through Jinja, that should also be sufficient.
So,
yes.
The week 3 lab assignment, in the instructions, there is one instruction key. The output page should be HTML5 compliant. For example, the file should begin with the declaration #doctype HTML. Can you elaborate on what this exactly is? Is it only that the first line should be there, or you're expecting something more? Because I'm not getting 100%.
Okay.
90 or something.
See, first thing, don't have to worry about it. Okay. Second thing, why we are saying that is we want to put, I mean, we want to standardize the statements, right? HTML5 is not the first version of HTML, right?
What is expected from you? That only that first doc type HTML should be there? Are you expecting more meta tags, or what you're expecting is my question, because I'm not getting full 100 marks, so I'm worried.
Correct. So that is what I'm trying to, you said, I mean, that is what I'm trying to explain why we are having that statement, right? So HTML from the beginning did not have HTML5 as the version, right? This is HTML5 is something that we're using now, and we'll keep on using that. One way to say that an HTML file is HTML5 compliant is to mention that doc type. Okay. Now in our all the applications that we'll be using HTML5, and to standardize that we are using doc type HTML. It is not that it won't render if you're not using that representation, but it is just a standard way of writing an HTML5 document. Okay. So therefore we emphasize on mentioning that doc type, I mean tag doc type tag, just to say that this is HTML5 compliant page. Other than that, that is okay. No meta tags and all is required.
Okay.
Okay, so we are having this because the previous versions of HTML, like HTML4 and other, did not have this.
Because of the error codes, I'm just wondering what is meant by HTML. I understand the first line, but it is clear now.
No. Don't worry about the meta tags. That is not.
Sir, I have texted my doubt in the chat.
Oh, okay. Okay, some error, right? Okay, somebody has given the entire code on. Okay, fine. Okay, the thing is, to find out the mistake from here is a little tricky, so won't be able to do that. As the week 4, is it about week 4 lab assignment? Week 4 lab assignment clarification regarding the radio button, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it says, all right, so it says that if the radio button is not selected and submitted, should we display error message? The problem said if the given error page is incorrect course ID. Yeah, so in any case, right? So if you are having one of the fields blank and you try to submit, it should definitely show an error message, right? I mean, if see, there is something called as validation. Okay, HTML validation, where if you do not, I mean, if you put some values in the field that is not expected, then it should there itself tell you that okay, this is not what we are expecting. For example, you have this validations in email, right? So that some @ is required and this is all. So if you don't put that, there itself it shows you. Okay, that is called as validation. Since we have not involved that, since we have not added validations and stuff, not selecting a radio button would be considered as, a wrong input.
Sir,
Okay.
what I did was I stored the value as none. None in I'll get the request from the form. I'll store the value as none. So I wrote the Python statement. If the value is none, then execute the request. So in that case, it's not working. So I don't know how to store this value, none value, for not selecting the radio button.
Yeah, but if you're not selecting the radio button and directly submitting, what it shows?
It shows a bad request from server.
Okay, so maybe because it does not have any value right at the backend. So that's what you need to check within in your application. You have to check if there is value entered. If it is not, then again it should go to the error page. So you have to build the logic.
If there's no value, it will be default. It will be saved as none. None. So, or like what will be the default value?
Okay. So if you don't select any radio button, I'm not okay. I don't recall that. Abhishek,
Adarsh, shall I answer this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in case the user is trying to leave out that field empty, the choice is left up to the programmer. You can collect that value as none if that is being left out as empty. So that you can manage in your application code.
Yes, sir. I tried that. I collected the value as none and I executed this else code for that. But in that case, also I'm getting bad requests from the servers.
So I'm not sure. Means how are you managing that? If that field is left as empty, then you will consider it to be a none value.
So I'll request.form. I'll get the radio buttons option. I'll get it from request.form inside brackets. So the radio buttons name. If that request.form that value is not entered, it will be defaultly stored as none. So I'll write the else block for.
No, one second. Can you just repeat the last statement?
So if I'm getting the option, I'm getting the option is course ID or student ID, and
yeah, correct.
And the second text field I'm having it as student ID and student, so that's not required. So first I'm checking if option ID or course ID is entered from request.form in the name. So it's like kind of complicated. I don't know how to explain it. So. Yes, sir. So request.form, I'm getting the user input in that I'm storing that user input into that variable. So once that variable is there, I'm executing my normal things like how everything. But if there's no variable, I'm saying initially it is saved as none. So if there's no variable, I'm executing the else block. So
Sashi, can you do one thing? Can you just write to me personally for that? I don't think this is the right date to discuss since it is a graded lab assignment and the deadline is not over yet.
Okay, sir.
Can you just write to me personally? Do you have my email ID?
No, sir.
I'll just paste it in the chat. You can just write to me and respond to you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay, shall we move ahead? Yeah, so try to answer some of the questions. Yeah, so will there be any more Flask tutorials? Yeah, so Flask is just started, right? So afterwards, after week 3, all the live sessions and all the Solve with Instructor sessions will involve Flask in some or the other. right? And even the screencast and all that will involve. I mean, most of the content that we work with will be in Flask. So yeah, there will be a lot of Flask coming out. Okay, and yeah, so okay, yeah. So Ajit, the problem with your question would be, I guess you are doing some, conditions which are specific to the data that we have given you as a sample. Okay, just make sure that it is not specific to that. Okay, because the data that we might use to test your code in the background differ. Okay, so if you're using some condition, for example, length of this, length of that, okay, and then you're setting it to some hard-coded value, you have to be careful with that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right, so it says the Python program generated an error for invalid inputs, right? So maybe your code takes any other inputs from any other file as invalid because you have hard-coded something in your code. Okay, that can be the issue. You make it data independent.
But the data could be different, but the column positions will not change, right?
Yes, yes. Column will not change. Data can be different.
Because if we use CSV, we have to hard code that, first column is this, second column is that.
Yeah, correct. So that is the reason we have also given specifically that statement. This should be the name. This should be the name of column. So the date, the values that fill the columns might differ. I mean, the file that we test your code on can be different from what you have been given. That is the reason we're calling it sample CSV. It's just for sample. So you don't need to hard code anything based on what is given. Okay. Column names are okay. Okay. Okay, we'll move ahead. Any other doubt? So this is about not only about lab assignments, right? We can have questions regarding the week 3 and week 4 content, content wise.
One question I will like to ask: environment.
Yeah, sure.
Environment command on the shell command, what it does exactly in the background?
Okay, which command?
Environment, .environment.
Okay, see, so there is something called as virtual environment, right? So what we do is there may be so many packages installed in your computer, and so many other libraries installed, right? But what you do when you create a project, you create its own environment. I mean, its own safe space where the required packages for that particular project will be installed. Okay, so that it does not overload your application, does not install from outside, right? So the only packages or libraries that are required will be installed, and it will, it will keep your project different from whatever is already there in your system. So that is the reason we call it as environment. Okay, so all the files that you create in the project, libraries used, will be stored there. That is the simple definition.
Means environment will be in a separate folder.
Yeah, it will. I mean, it will create separate folders and all the packages installed. What you require, it will do that.
And if you are doing some code in Replit, in main or like app file, then to run that file, this environment folder will also be required to be.
No, Replit is not required, because see, anyway, when you create a new project you call it as a REPL, right? You create your own REPL, so it will have its own file structure, and it downloads and installs only those packages which are given by you as requirements. That's it. So every REPL can also be compared with any individual environment, every REPL. So in Replit itself, you don't need to create a virtual environment.
Okay, but I think without creating this virtual environment, the last screencast of what it has been casted on that, it was not working. When I created this virtual environment through Cell, then it worked.
Okay.
But I'm not able to corroborate this REPL and the command line. Whatever. Separately.
But, okay. But that should not be the case, right? So it is not mandatory to create virtual environment every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is not required.
So you carry on with Replit, right? Yeah, you carry on with Replit. In the local machine also, it is not required. We do that just so that we have different set. I mean, for example, if I am using a particular version of let's say a Matplotlib in my project, okay, and what happens? Certain features, certain methods of a library and package gets deprecated and improved over time. Okay, what if you are using something and you change your system now? Okay, and you try to download that version. I mean, you try to download again, for example, you're using Matplotlib. Okay, you had Matplotlib, you were working, and you did not create an virtual environment. You're working on the system and you're using Matplotlib. Now, for some reason, you had to change the system and go to that other system. But the Matplotlib in that system is having a method that is deprecated. Okay, so in that case, what will happen? It will not work fine. Okay, virtual environment, what it does is it will have the packages along with the versions so that it installs. I mean, before running the program, it installs only those versions where your all methods are intact. So it does not cause any issue.
Okay, whether it should be in the same folder or anywhere it can be environment.
What should be in the same folder?
Suppose we are working in Windows. On the shell command, we are creating an environment. So whether it will be created for the whole Windows.
Yeah, so that folder becomes the virtual environment.
Okay, that folder only. If you go to the next folder, then it will be not required, right?
What is not required as
suppose folder number 1. In the folder number 1, I created a virtual environment for executing the commands of Python. Okay. And I did it. Suppose I created another folder number 2. Whether another environment will be required to be created in that folder or the same environment will work for the system.
No. It will environment. That's what. So we are calling it environment because it is creating a conducive environment for that particular piece of code, right? How it will work for the entire system. We are not doing it for system. We are doing it for that particular directory.
Okay, my environment is totally related with the particular code. But the question initially I raised, what is in the background environment? It means particular code. It is related to that particular code, right?
Code is okay. Code can work anywhere. I mean, if there is Python installed in the system, you can run. Shift your code anywhere and run it. But if it is requiring some packages, it will first install those packages if they are there. Stored somewhere. Your shell or whatever console you're writing, it will first install the packages and then the code will run. Now, what does virtual environment does is it will download and install only those versions of the libraries used, so that you don't have any method deprecated or removed out like that.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Got it.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So question on command line. So can you explain how to take arguments from command line? How to compare like import sys? Yeah, correct. So see, what happens is sys.rgv1, it will give you the first, the second element of the list. Okay, and all the sys.rgv is actually will give you a list. Okay, and then from there you have to take all the values given, whether it is number, whether it is string, will be taken as string only. Okay, so here this -s. This is correct, right? What you are saying, sys.rgv, and see, the thing is one thing. Just don't give direct message. if it is given to everyone, it will be visible for everyone. So that if others also have the same doubt, they can connect to it, and whatever I'm speaking should be relevant to them also, right? So just don't give the direct message. You can give message to everyone so that they understand what is happening. Okay, so for the context, I'll give here what is happening here. There is so like that. Yeah, so there is a command line argument. What we need to do is, and then something called as okay, and then how do we need to access, right? So sys.rgv will give you the list of all the arguments that are added. Okay, and then so it will be list. Yeah, obviously it is a method of sys, so you have to import sys first. Okay, and then it will, all the arguments given along with the file and name and stuff will come as a part of list, and each will be a string. Each component or each element of that list will be string. So even if you're putting a number, it will be string. And then you have to then comparing. So if you're comparing it with string, you have to access with the help of indexing, right? So that's what. For example, if you want to take the third element of string, third element of the list, it should be sys.rgv and in square bracket 2, because it has to be indexed like the way we index the list. That's all. Correct. Yeah. So the way Srinivasan is written, right? So this is how we do. Okay. By the way, how many of you have gone through videos of week 4? And with the content of week 4, started solving activity and practice questions of week 4?
Only 1 or 2 videos I could share only.
Okay. Okay. No issues with that. Just asking. Others working with lab assignment itself. Okay. Yeah, so probably it was. Probably this till this morning, it was the last day for lab assignments. Everyone was okay, fine. Got it. Yeah, but see, you have to so for now, but you have to make and keep in mind that the deadline for both week 3 and week 4 would be 29.
Yeah, thanks for that, sir, because I was so worried about that, because the whole night I could not sleep. I came to the office without sleeping. That's why I'm extremely sorry. I put so much of time.
That is okay. I mean, if you put, the more time you put, the more you learn.
Yeah,
that has been the case with Abdev 1. I mean, both the application Dev 1 and 2. The more you go through the content outside of what is provided, the more you learn.
Yeah. I agree with that. That you are fine. You're telling absolutely right.
Okay, so yeah, so I would suggest you go through till our next session on Solve with Instructor. I guess most of the things, I mean, so many things regarding week 3 will be cleared then. So you can ask your doubt there also, and solve the questions so that we can discuss on questions also. But meanwhile, we can also have discussions on anything that is there for the content or the videos that you have watched for week 3, week 4, and then could not understand. So I see some doubts on this course, but
one thing,
yeah, go ahead.
Is it possible to upload some solved kind of this assignment, so they're not same, some solved type of, whether particular problem statement is given and we are doing the step solution.
Okay, but see, even if you provide a solution, even if you do that, it will be done after the deadline only, right?
Okay. No, but in the week 2 also it has been not uploaded solution. I think.
Yeah. So week 2 is what I've said, right? So we will be correct. So we will be giving the report, okay, wherein you will understand, okay, where exactly your code went wrong. The the reason I've mentioned that why we are not giving solution is that there is no particular one solution. You might be getting the feel of that from now this week's lab assignment also, right? We are mostly working with Python. Python has numerous ways to do same thing, right? Same thing applies with HTML. So and even I have also shown so many. I mean, I've shown through my live sessions also. I mean, Solve with Instructor also, that we can simply create a HTML file by writing our name, and then it will be rendered. So you don't have to. So you cannot have a particular way, one way of creating an HTML file. That is the reason if you give one solution, that will be helpful to some, but will not be helpful to so many others. Okay, so that will generally not make sense. So that's why what we do is we give a report, as in what we were trying to test, where it went wrong, and how we lost marks. That makes more sense. Okay, so that will be followed for the other lab assignments also. It's getting delayed, I know, but yeah, we'll give it to you as soon as possible.
What I was telling a different thing. I was telling that suppose a lab assignment has been given for the graded assignment, but another 2 or 3 practice assignment type of thing with the solution, so that we can practice on that. Then we will fetch this. All right.
Okay.
Try this lab assignment.
This as practice. Okay. Practice assignment as in
with the solution, so that we can be conversant with that how to tackle this such a type of problem.
Okay, correct. All right, but
then it will be easier for us to attempt the lab assignment kind of thing.
In week 2, CSS was a practice solution, right? The CSS assignment was a practice solution. The HTML was actually the graded solution.
Yes. But the CSS, I mean, backup as it?
No, it was not part of the marking, right? So it was
correct. It was not graded. Yeah. So the reason for that is the same, right? For even if you're having 100 combinations for HTML, you might have 1,000 for CSS. Right. So that is the reason we are definitely don't want to grade you on.
What is the meaning of writing the grading pattern? HTML will be graded and CSS will be not graded. What does it mean?
This means that see what happens, all your lab assignments, whatever marks you grade, a portion of that contributes to your final marks. Okay. If it is graded, it will contribute to your final score. If it is not graded, it will not contribute. It will be for your practice only.
Okay. It means the graded assignment given in this, I think weightage given is 0 for the graded assignment. Only lab assignment is giving grading. Is it so?
Yeah, correct. So, yeah, correct. So we call it graded questions, but the weightage is not given. I mean, it does not directly contribute.
It is zero.
Yeah. So it does not directly contribute to your final score, but it gives us, I mean, a good amount of idea as in how one is performing.
Okay. How can we say it is graded? How it is graded?
So it accounts for other stuff, right? For example, at the end, when we give you, let's say, practice, I mean, the projects and all, okay, and then you have quizzes and all. So how you perform throughout the course is understood from what you have done in the graded questions. Okay, so it directly does not contribute to your final score.
Yeah,
but
there is no grading. I think zero grading is there. Only grading is for the lab assignment.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so it directly does not. Only the quiz and all, they directly, impact your final score. But the questions on graded assignment do not directly contribute, but they help in other things.
I think
like
it is not indirectly also not contributing. Just giving practice.
No. See, there are so many. I mean, there are things that we also take into consideration while evaluating, right? So final score, when it is given, and we have to give, let's say,
maybe some consideration is given to that.
Yeah. So if you're
Depending upon
directly
the data. Yeah.
Correctly. So correct. So if a student is directly jumping onto quiz and not doing anything on the graded, does not have. So that gives us an idea of what person is doing in the course.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so there are like so many other learners in the meet, and I don't see so many replying or
everybody crushed below this slab assignment.
No, that is not the case. That is not the case. I hope that is not the case.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
We will try our
One
hard,
doubt is,
and we will do it. We will do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will do
So
it.
you do it, and then we will definitely help you at every stage. Don't worry. If you're
Yeah,
see,
sir, yes.
it will be definitely better to ask. Whenever you get stuck somewhere, it will be better to ask questions rather than trying, and you try for some time, and if it is okay, it looks okay, it is going out of your hand, you ask on the discourse rather than waiting. In that case you will be for example, I mean, in that case you will be able to solve your doubts better, because you will not be stuck for maybe a small thing or a big thing, doesn't matter. If you are stuck, you're stuck, you'll not be able to get other things.
But sir, in the lab assignment case, it is a graded one. Whether we can ask question about that also, because I think it is not permissible, no, to ask about this graded assignment.
Yeah, correct. So see, so if you're asking a question that is regarding to directly related to graded assignment, yeah, so we will definitely, I mean, we will give you some insights on how to solve it. We'll definitely not give you a piece of code. See, this is how you should do
That's
it.
why I
Yeah,
did not
you
ask.
have to generalize your question.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's the thing is, don't be
Got it.
specific about that thing, but generalize it.
Okay.
Yeah, so Ajit, I did not get your question here. I mean, your doubt here that all the CSV file has same fields, name like first field, value, student ID code. So I didn't get what you're trying to ask here.
Like we have provided in the question, first column student ID.
Okay.
Like first header is always student ID, course ID, and marks, or it will vary name.
So this will remain specific. I mean, this will remain intact. Student ID. So two things you have to focus on is the way they are written. You have to follow the same way. Secondly, the sequence. If the student ID, if it follows the sequence of student ID, course ID, marks, you have to code in a way that it should take data in this form only. I mean, in this sequence only. Right? So this sequence should not be disturbed, and whatever the text is there, I mean, student ID, that should not be disturbed. Okay, that can remain hard coded. Apart from that, you don't have to. I mean, you cannot assume that this should be the value, this can be the value, or a value will be these many digits, and write your code on that. You don't have to assume that.
Okay, sir. Sir, because I changed all things what you said, but still I am getting same error. I didn't find any hard coding, or
Okay.
I can't able to find.
Okay, fine. Okay, you try to just what we say, frame this in a proper doubt and put it on discourse. We'll try to see what can be done. Okay, don't put your code, please.
Okay, sir.
Okay, because yeah, so since we have extended deadline, we don't want the code to be open now. So don't put your code, no matter, doesn't matter if it is working, it's not working. You should not put your code directly on the discourse or anywhere. This is my code, this is what I've done. After the deadline, you can show it for as a reference to your peers.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so this week, week 4 generally deals with models. So mostly we have done with, I guess, so some of you and many of you have already done DBMS course, and some are doing it in this run. You might find so many content that is more related to DBMS in week 4 than in April. Right, so this is because we want you to get the idea of how databases work and how do they contribute in application development. Right, so week 4 is mostly dedicated with basic concepts of DBMS. Right? You also see terms like acid and things like that, ER diagrams. Yeah, so we'll also try to have a small session on that so that we give you some more examples as in how ER diagrams actually work, so that it will help you in coming part, for example, project and other things, right? So
What is
for me,
what is the full form of this ERD? Whatever given is
ER diagram, right? Entity relationship diagram. So there are entities.
Entity relationship, right?
Yeah. So there are entities defined by your tables in the database. Okay. And then how these individual entities are related to each other is the relationship that we say. Right. So this is and a diagram that represents that is called ER diagram.
So one small correct. Adarsh, I had done DBMS last term.
Okay.
So week 4 of DBMS introduces ER diagrams also. So maybe I just, because anyway you have to do this either with DBMS or before that, right? After that. So if people do the DBMS week 4 first, they may find our after week 1, week 4 easier. Just my comment seems that way.
Correct. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But see, the thing is, in DBMS, we are talking specifically about DBMS, databases and how it works. But in application development, since though DBMS is used, we will not go into details of DBMS. We'll only use that as much as required in order to configure a database with the application. After that, we will not work with so many queries and all the relay. I mean, too much details of DBMS. Okay, so yeah, so your suggestion is well taken. I mean, and since it is week 4 only, I guess it will be manageable by some. So you can take first part of your week 4, I mean 4th week, to study about DBMS, and then get on with app dev so that you get the idea, right? So that's something that like that can be done. Yeah, but yeah, so in app dev we will not focus much, although you see so many questions on, look like they are mostly related to DBMS, but that just to get the idea. Okay. So what it's supposed to be? Okay, so is it a question or you're saying this? Is it statement? Right. So in the coming weeks, so now that you are done with some basics of database, and also the Flask is introduced from this week probably. So in the content, it will come from next week, week 5. Okay. But I guess in the screencast, you may have seen Flask, right? So Flask is introduced. Now we will be mostly working with the development of application linking Flask with the various other components, right? So Flask is something that will work at the background, that will have our business logic or whatever application we are creating. Okay, so that will have the controllers. Okay, and then there will be database which will have which we will say as models, right? So this is now we are moving more into core of application development, right? So where we will link so first 3 weeks we saw what views are, like the front end. I mean, what we will see. Okay, this week we saw that, or we will be seeing that throughout this week, that how things are stored and retrieved. And then from the next week we'll start with complete the controller part, Flask, right, and add more components to that. So that is how we try to develop the application as a whole. Yeah, so it would be good that you I mean, every time you move with the next session, I mean a session forward, you revise with the previous contents. That will also help you in quizzes, because quizzes are exhaustive of all the on the 4 weeks content, right? So anything from week 1 to week 4. Any question can come.
So quiz will be based on lab assignment theory or like a graded assignment theory?
See, it will be a combination of everything, right? So we'll try to, so it will mostly be concepts. Okay, we will make sure that you don't need to remind anything, you don't need to learn anything by heart, but some things are expected, some things as in very obvious things are expected. Okay, I cannot go into details with very obvious things because you're calling it very obvious, right? So you go through the, so that will be in your mind even if you go through the course throughout the content, right? I mean the syllabus for quiz 1. We will have a revision session for quiz. Okay, mock session for quiz. So yeah, I guess that till then it will be clear. Okay, anything else about questions, contents, any part of the video? We'll discuss that, or are there no questions?
So I have the basic doubts. So in
Okay.
week 4, we're using Jinja to render the template, right? So the only purpose of using Flask is to use that request thing. So that's the only purpose, extra purpose, or is there any hidden purposes for Flask as well?
Hey, no, Flask. Okay. Okay. How do you think your application is storing data? See, in the MVC controller, I mean MVC architecture. Till now we were looking. I mean till week 3 we were looking at only the view part. Okay. Now you want to do more complex operations like working with database. Okay, so you need to have a database, and then something that configures both the front end, the database, and then does the operations of database, right? Now these operations can be anything, right? So you, for example, if you want to store information, retrieve information, change it, right? You cannot do it using HTML, I mean Jinja and all, right? So it is the main thing that comes into picture when you talk about application development. Okay. So the Flask will basically, that's what I said, the Flask will basically contain the controller part. It will have controllers that will perform the business logic of an application, right? Till now we have just seen what can be done without a database, right? So whatever we are doing, we are giving you some sample data and you're storing it in, so that is dynamic data. It is not being stored anywhere.
So this request things and all are part of the controller, right?
Yeah, correct. This is how you deal with the forms, right? Request is just requests from Flask is just it is a part of Flask that helps you deal with take the arguments in the form of HTML forms, right? And as you see, as you know, most of web applications, how do they interact with the user? With the help of forms. You won't go inside and give command line and, right? So you won't give any information through command line or URL. You'll mostly deal with forms. So Flask sets that interface. I mean, interprets that those values given by you, values as in the data given by you, and then based on what you want or what you want your application to do, it will perform those tasks, taking into consideration the database. Okay, so Flask is the main picture here, and you will see, like I mean, currently, what should I say? You will see how it builds up. So there are so many things that will come up. It's not only about simple HTML and template rendering. Right. So probably if you're seeing the orientation, we had talked about controllers. Then then there is something called as APIs, right? How do you put security to your application? How do you manipulate data? How do you I mean, how do you what we say, route to different URLs of your application, right? All these things are taken care of by Flask. Currently, we are only simply, creating static pages and serving on web. That is not a website. Well, it is called as website in the simple term, but that is not how actual website works. We have so many things in the front end, but currently we do not have anything at the back end. But back end is the essence of AppDev1. Okay. Okay, difference between template and library. See, library is a set of functions or set of what you call methods, okay, which are predefined, written, so that you can simply import them and use them, right? For example, matplotlib is a library. CSV that we're talking about is library. What it does, it is provide you certain methods, CSV dot whatever it is, right? And then matplotlib.plt.plot. What it does, it has predefined functions which help you to perform certain tasks. You don't have to, write the code, right? And so that is done by libraries. It has predefined functions or methods that you can call and use. Okay, that is library. Template, on the other hand, is simple. What we say, simple. It's like a structure, a simple structure that you can give to your front end. Front end, as in your screen, what it should show. Exact data is filled every time you render the template. Okay, so it's like, for example, if I want to write my name is this and my roll number is this and I work for this course. Now you want to do it with hundreds of students. Okay, so for the data will be specific to that particular student, but the content that is coming every time, my name is, my courses are, and my whatever, right? All these things, this is called as template, right? This is the format in which you want your information to be displayed. So both are completely different. Okay, Jinja is a library, or Jinja is a templating engine, right? It is a library which allows you to create template. Jinja is a template, a library that helps you to create templates, right? So so what you will call as a template, an HTML file with all the Jinja tags, right? The curly brackets, the block part, the comment part, right? The print statement of Jinja, all these things, because that file, that template does not have useful information. It actually renders the actual information and then shows you on the screen. Okay, that HTML file can be called as a template. Who creates that? Jinja. So Jinja is a library that helps you create template. Okay, and then it renders the actual value on that particular, placeholders. We call this as placeholders. So if there is some double curly brackets, your name. So your name and double curly bracket is actually the placeholder of your actual name. Okay, your actual name will be the actual output, and then the HTML file with the curly bracket on will be called as the simple template. Okay, so Jinja is a library. It helps you to create template. Okay, and Flask is a micro framework. It is a framework, a larger version of library.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, in lectures of week 3, sir has demonstrated how to use PyHTML library.
Correct.
So what's the difference between PyHTML and Jinja? Both are used to generate HTML, right, sir?
Yeah, correct. So both are same. PyHTML is very, very limited. Jinja, on the other hand, gives you a lot of functionality.
So in sense of what, sir, very limited means?
So for example, PyHTML will help you create HTML files without any error. Now, what do you call a HTML file, or what do you mean by an HTML file without any error? An HTML file without any error means everything structured. The DOM is completely structured. This means if there are closing tags, if there are tags which require closing, they are properly closed, right? So while creating application, while writing HTML files, you might forget ending a tag, right? So let's say I created a div tag. Okay, and I started a div tag, but I did not end it. What consequences that can happen? What consequences that will have? it might, yeah, so you understand that part, right? So it might have some consequences. PyHTML on the other hand will help you to avoid these situations. Okay, I mean, it will always have a correct HTML, I mean, with all the proper tags closed, but it does not give you so much flexibility. I mean, you'll have to code. What we are actually doing, we are using PyHTML to simplify our code. Simplify our code as in create HTML with the help of Python. But if in the Python code, if I need to add so many things to create a right HTML, that is not the right way of doing it, right?
Yes, sir.
So in that sense, PyHTML is limited. Okay, so for example, if you want to, let's say you want to target an element and give stylings to that, how will you do that within in PyHTML? By targeting individual tags, I mean individual element, right? For example, how do you create a div tag in PyHTML? Div, you call it as a method, div and then bracket, right? So what it will do, it will create an exact opening div tag content and closing div tag in HTML. Correct. So a Pythonic way would be to just call it as a method. Okay, but now if you have 100 div tags and you want to style to each one of them, you will have to go and give stylings to each one of them in Python, which is not the intuitive way or the correct, I mean, easier way to do. Okay, so in that sense, PyHTML has so many limitations. In Jinja, it's not like that. Jinja gives you a lot of flexibility. It gives you manipulation over data. PyHTML does not allow manipulation. For example, this for loop, right? If statement, you cannot use all these things. Then there are other things like filters, right? You can even write functions in Jinja too. Those are called as macros. Okay, then you can use template inheritance, which is very important. So there are so many things are provided by Jinja.
Sir, so the sole purpose of Jinja is also to generate HTML pages, right? So
that's it.
Okay.
Generate templates, right, to create. I mean, to create the template and then dynamically add data and show it on the screen.
Okay. Which the dynamic content which cannot be created by HTML.
Yeah. Dynamic content PyHTML does not do. It will create simple static HTML. If you want to do that part, you have to, individually write Python code for that. Okay. For example, if you have seen, I mean, I'm not sure if I've done that in week 2, but
give
in
an
week
example.
2,
Example, sir.
Yeah. Just give me a minute. Yeah. So for example, if you want to do a manipulation using PyHTML, you'll have to write normal Python code in PyHTML. Okay. Target, and then your HTML will be written. In Jinja, you don't need to do that. You can write your manipulation, for example, using the conditional statement for if, that can be written itself in the HTML. You don't have to write Python. Python will only be used to transfer data to the template, put right data at right places. That's it. Okay,
the conditional statement. Conditional statement can be used in this HTML.
Yeah. So if you see, if you have seen some of the codes of Jinja, you're using conditional statement, right, within the block, conditional block. You're using end. If.
Which one you say the conditional block, like curly bracket within percentage?
Yeah.
Whatever.
That is the conditional block.
So what constitutes a conditional block from percentage to modulo block, single curly bracket, to end for. Up to this makes a one block.
Yes.
Okay, and other conditional, if, while can also be used in this.
While I've not used extensively, but if is there.
Now, what are permissible
or is there
to here in blocks, in Jinja blocks, and where it is given to learn which statements, conditional statement can be used in Jinja, where it is.
Okay. Yeah. So see, that's what. So since now, so that, as I said, Jinja is again very extensive. So it will definitely be not possible to give you the entire content of Jinja through
not all, sir, not
lectures
all,
and all,
because
right?
we have learnt only percentage for line,
correct.
for this, and end for. We know only one. Then how to get other one, 5, 4, 3, or 10, like that? Correct.
So for that, you have to go through the documentation of Jinja. Okay, documentation of Jinja, for not only for Jinja, for other libraries and frameworks that we'll be using, for example, Flask. We will start off with documentation, creating a simple app. Similarly, we are creating a simple template with Jinja.
We have to search for that. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll let me give you the link to that if I can see. But you can simply write Jinja to documentation and you'll find it.
Yeah, that will be available. I think that is available on the net.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it gives you more than sufficient information.
Okay. One more question, sir. The template file can be put separately, or it may be included in the main content.
Template files are?
Template files, because in the screencast, template file were separated in a separate file, and it was then I think extracted from the app file. But it can also be that in the form of template, it can be directly put in the main Python code or app.py. Which one is better?
So that's what.
Keep the template file separately, or to keep all the template in the same file.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, if you're keeping template files, the thing is, when you are using the template within Python file, you're not exactly using Jinja. You're using formatting, string formatting. Okay. If you're having a separate template file that is with the extension HTML, then you're using Jinja. Okay. Entire things change. Content also change.
My question is different.
Okay.
In the main Python code, in the screencast, I think a template file was separated. After doing all the work, template file was separated in another file.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it was executed through a app.py file.
Yes, correct.
Where the code was given. Okay, so whether this is required, or we can put the templates, the code of the templates in itself in the main.py or app.py.
So you, how will you do that? I mean, the template files are HTML files, right? Your code is Python.
No, HTML is generated, sir. No? HTML is not.
No,
HTML is generated.
No, a new HTML will not be generated. That template file will take the data from app.py or whatever file it is, main.py. It will take the data and render that.
And then after rendering, HTML will be generated.
HTML is not generated. It is rendered. That template file itself is rendered with the right data.
But in the screencaster, HTML is generated when we run app.py. Then and I think.
So probably we are creating an HTML file using Python.
Yeah, we can say generated means generated and creating.
So,
I think.
Yeah, that's what. So creating, I mean, that is not a part of Jinja as such. It is part of Python itself. You don't need to do that. I mean, if you have a file where it will take the data and render it dynamically, why do you need a static HTML file? And if it is a part of screencast, it is because sir may have followed that way of doing it. I mean, with the template, add the data,
Jinja,
save it as a static file.
Jinja is the only library we are using library functions within this Python code. Am I right? Okay. And within the writing the Python code, we use some templates. That template is rendered by some data.
Okay.
Through this Python code. Am I right, sir?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Then after when we run after writing all the Python codes, we run. When we run, then an HTML file is created in the layout.
Achha, it is okay. The one that is coming on the console is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
when we run, either we run or we we put a command line Python dash Python app. And so what is the difference between this? Because this is confusing. Because we are just copying the methods. They are doing the screencast, then we are doing like that. But in the background, what is happening, we are not understanding.
Okay, see, the thing is, this will be more clear when we have Flask in place.
Okay. Because we are doing, but we are copying. We are doing whatever we.
No. Okay. You wait for the next class.
Okay, sir.
Next live session. Okay, so in the Solve with Instructor session, that is based on week 3, week 3 Jinja.
Keep a detailed screencast or something like that. So
correct.
We should be clear what we are doing. We should be clear in the background what is running behind.
Yeah. So see, currently what we are doing is we are importing Jinja in Python, right?
Yeah.
Importing Jinja, right? So that is one way of doing. But when the Flask comes in, we will not import it. Okay. Jinja has this capability. If you want to use some library in Python, you have to first import it. Okay. In HTML, you don't need to do that. HTML, just use the syntax of Jinja. Okay, and then use it along with the file in Python, which will come in Flask. That is the reason I'm not going into details. Okay,
sir.
So that will, that HTML file, which is having Jinja code, will itself render as a normal HTML file. Okay, now it sounds very, when I'm saying it sounds very different, but when we will do it, it will be very clear.
Yeah, so when we will do in Flask, then it will be clear.
Correct. Yeah. So I'll show the difference also, like what is importing Jinja into Python and doing the things, and other one is with the help of Flask.
Okay. Then in up to Jinja, some conditional statements can be taken from the Jinja and it can be put in this Python. Is it so?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the template that we are having, right, in the Python itself, it is consisting so it can consist some conditional statements, but that will be not the conditions of Python. That will be condition statements of Jinja.
Yeah. Conditions of Jinja within the curly brackets, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so to extending that, we will use of Jinja with Flask is the actual use of Jinja. This is just for your explanation. Currently what we are seeing.
Okay. I will do it. Some Jinja library functions we will do.
No, Jinja library. You go to the documentation. It is having
documentation.
Yeah, and see, some of the documentations are painful if you see them with the context of content. So if you see that this documentation is 10 pages long, you lose the interest then and there itself. It's not that we have to go through the entire documentation. We have to only pick up that which is important, and how to get that, you will just have to go through the course, follow the documentation, and you will know what is important and what is not. Okay. Meanwhile, we'll also tell you like, okay, this is not required, that is required. So
but I was searching this conditional other than this line for something in the curly bracket. Suppose we want to put and statement or statement or like some other conditional Boolean statement.
So Boolean conditions are there, I guess. In the conditional block, everything is like Python. If you skip something like filter and stuff, everything is like Python only. So if you double equals to for checking or and can be used.
All the statements can be put within the curly bracket. Is it so?
Yeah.
And the closing block will be end for.
End for, yes.
Okay, that will not change. The last one will not change.
That will not change, and that is really important. In Python, we don't have to end a for, but in Jinja we have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
So Sanjay, we will talk a lot about Flask. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it. We'll start with very basic application till your project, right? So we'll talk a lot about Flask. Okay, so you see that in 1 or 2 weeks, things will fall in place. All right. So next session on Saturday, we'll have Solve with Instructor for week 3.
And 4 also, right? Because week 4 assignments also due on 29th of June, May as of now.
Yeah. So on the Solve with Instructor session, I'm talking about the live session, right? Okay, fine. Yes, in AppDev 1, in AppDev 1, we'll mostly work with Flask. JavaScript is hardly touched upon. Okay, we'll have some introduction to JavaScript, but it's hardly touched. Okay, so we will not be using JavaScript much. We'll be using the base. The programming language that we are using for this course is Python, right? And that is the reason we need to have a framework in Python that does the job for us. What JavaScript and things do, right? So in that case, we have Flask. So we'll mostly work with Flask. We can, we'll see some parts of JavaScript, but we'll not definitely, not use it in our application development. JavaScript has a major role in the sequel of this course. And it's not that it is preferred. It's not that it is preferred. So JavaScript, Python is not preferred over JavaScript. Here we are learning mostly about backend, right? Since most of us are familiar with Python, it becomes easier to understand backend with Python. Okay, then JavaScript becomes a lot easier when we are okay with backend in Python. Okay, so it's not about any preference. It's about the way we go. We will definitely have equal amount of Python and JavaScript when and at the end of both the courses. AppDev 1, AppDev 2. At the end of both the courses, you will be able to create applications in both Python and JavaScript. But since this is a programming paradigm of the online degree, we generally go with Python. Okay, so it is easier to understand.
Python is easier than the Java.
Definitely easier than Java. Java is so JavaScript. I'm talking about JavaScript.
Yeah. JavaScript. Yeah.
Command line arguments are important because, see, as a developer, you should be able to work with your application through background. Through command line and not the front end. Okay, front ends is for the user. Command line arguments gives you so much flexibility, a very high level of targeting. You can work with a command line and practically go through every part of your program and study it.
Front line, what you tell the front line? Command line is the command line on the what we type on the command line.
Yeah.
And what is front line? We type.
No, front, not the front line, front end. That is on the screen you see and you type in information and you press submit. That is front end, what you see.
Okay. But in command line also we see. What is the difference exactly?
No, not like that. That front end of application. Command line is not the front end of application. It is in general interface to work with your files. Command line. Right?
Okay. Like in REPL. If we type in REPL and that is executed, that is front end.
Yeah. So front end is specific to that application. When I talk about front end, I am talking about front end of that application. How will the HTML render and what you see? Okay. Command line is not specific. Every application will not have command line as front end, right? But it will be there. And every application will have different, its own specific front end. So that is the difference.
Command line is what we put. Suppose in the Python codes we write input in the bracket. That is command line or not?
No, that's it. That is not command. That is itself the code, right? You're writing the Python code. Input is a part of Python code.
No, it's a
Right.
user input. Suppose we
Yeah.
take some user input to
Yeah,
execute the
user
Python
input.
command. That is command line, no, or not?
No, that is not a command line. That is so that wherever you are giving the input, okay, wherever you're giving the input is not the command line.
Okay. Command line means when it is on the terminal screen, then it is a command line.
Terminal.
Okay.
Right, and the way you give inputs in command line, I mean, on the command line you will not see fields, text fields and input fields. Command line, how do we give information in command line? We'll just write the name of file, and then the strings that follow are commands. Okay, basically nothing but the commands that the application should understand and then work on accordingly. Right, so that is not the front end.
Okay. It means whatever we will put on the command line, it will be executed in that folder, right?
For that particular file, if it is there.
Yeah, for particular file, it will do. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So see, as far as I can say, for HTML and CSS, whatever has been covered as a part of lecture, screencast, and live sessions is sufficient. If you want to go more, you can go through the MDN docs, right? So it gives some basic information about HTML and CSS. That too,
What
it
is
is
that,
very MDN docs, right? So I've given so many times this link.
MDN docs.
Right. So it is developed by and maintained by Mozilla.
Okay, fine.
This is a resource for everything, right? Everything that is there on web, HTML, CSS, JavaScript.
In the supplementary content, it will be easier, sir, if something is given like this, because you forget a number of courses are there. The MDN docs or like that, whatever this Jinja library things is there, it is related.
Yeah,
to
see,
that
so for most of the things, see, if you have any generalized doubt, you can go through Stack Overflow, right? If you have doubts related
Stack Overflow is also helpful, right?
Yeah. So if you have any doubts related to first few weeks, for example, first week content, HTML, CSS, you can go through MDN docs, right? And then for the coming weeks, for example, week 3, we have Jinja. So from Jinja onwards, we have documentation for each and everything, right? I mean, the creator of that libraries or frameworks have given documentation, which is probably the most correct way and right way to refer to that particular framework, right? Yeah, and yeah, so definitely, since it is documentation created by them, the developers themselves, it is definitely very exhaustive, consisting of so many things which may not even be useful to us, but we have to pick from them, hand pick, and then make notes of it.
Yeah, we have to make our own notes,
that is very important.
Yeah, very important, sir, because a number of jargons are there. We have to correlate everything, right?
Yeah, and this is, this is required only for first few weeks, because later on, it's not that the content will change and you'll, if you're at week 4, you will not use some things from week 1. It is not the case. It will be built up. I mean, you will so frequently use these terms, then it will be in your mind. You don't need to remember anything. Those things will not be jargons anymore, because we keep on using those words every now and then in our conversations, also in what we do while creating application, while working with whatever frameworks we are using. So we use these terms so often that they become part of our natural conversation. With respect to this course, definitely.
The first time, because the new jargons are there, so we are confusing.
Correct. Yeah. So first few weeks are definitely going to be tough, but it then settles down.
Okay, fine. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so
I'm
you have
extremely sorry if I hurted anybody, because I took so much time on discussion of this lab assignment.
That is okay. I guess many of you had the same issue regarding the lab assignment, but yeah, but it is required to, something happens. No, don't worry.
Just I shared, sir, because if it is, we put this effort in other ways, then we will be more expert in that.
Got it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It was a very nice session.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So you see, we'll try to have more practical sessions as we move ahead, so that we try to create smallest of your doubts. It is not possible for the first few weeks because it is mostly the theoretical aspect of the course, right? As we move ahead, most of our courses will have the practical part, right? So the upcoming live sessions will mostly have practical part, coding and solve with instructor and stuff like that, so that it becomes easier, right? And then along with that, when you catch up with the contents of week 4 and onwards, it becomes easier to catch up with contents of previous weeks also.
Right.
Okay. All right. Question on Bootstrap. I couldn't understand Bootstrap screencast completely, sir. See, it is okay. Don't worry. What happens is Bootstrap can be used in two ways. One is you completely download the the styling that you want to use and use it as a normal CSS. The way normal CSS is used. And second way, to simply use the replay, right? The way we link Bootstrap, right? And then it defines so many ways as to if you want to create table, if you want to create rows, if you want to create columns. So it defines the way which it defines ways in which you can add same things in your files. Now, okay, now how to do that? It does that with the help of adding various classes to your elements. Okay, and that is what you see in mostly Bootstrap cladded HTML files. What you see is so many classes with very abnormal names. Okay, so what these abnormal names are, which are predefined names actually, which Bootstrap define and then give you idea of how it will render. For example, if you want a button, Bootstrap has its way of defining a button, what it should do, how it should look, right? So that is the reason we are having various what we call specific names, right? BTN and then call and 6 and MD. So many things are there, right? So that is why at the first glance Bootstrap looks difficult, but if you keep on using it, it becomes simple. You don't have to be master of Bootstrap, because a simple styling is enough, right? Here, as I said, we will be mostly working at backend, so we don't focus much on front end. Which with that, it does not mean that you have to completely leave the front end. Okay, but you don't have to worry if Bootstrap is not in your command. Okay, you don't have to command anything here. Okay, just get the glimpse. Okay. So what I said is how Bootstrap works, how you can integrate Bootstrap, and probably we'll try to use one of the Bootstrap in things in coming sessions also. Yeah, it is definitely not necessary to learn Linux working terminal. Definitely not necessary. Replit is fine, no issues. It is important to have some idea of terminal, but not as far as course is concerned. So don't worry, Replit is fine.
But terminal is also we should learn, sir, because some screencast.
We should definitely.
One session, practical session, if you organize in the later hours, so that we can understand properly what is terminal, what is Ubuntu, what is like that, how it is work, what is Windows, what is the Mac.
See what Linux terminal is, what we see on Windows is PowerShell, same. Okay, what changes? Some commands. Okay, that is what changes. Otherwise, okay, is it absolutely required to know the terminal?
No, sir. One thing I put regarding that in the week 1. Okay. In the terminal window, something was there because my window, I'm working in Windows 10.
Okay.
And I installed Ubuntu also on Windows. But whatever in the screencast was there, it was not working because I was not able to corroborate with that, because it was not working. The command was not working on that.
Okay, but you tell me, why was the command? Okay, do you remember why was the commands?
I not remember just now, but it is on the Discord. in the week 1 only.
Okay, see, the thing is mostly
What I tell you what was there in the screencast. Some on the terminal, the command was within some bracket S/P/M like that, and then command line was there, and the screencast I think working on that. But
okay.
my window terminal was a C:\/ this and win like that, like
fine.
win.
Got it.
It was not working. I was not able to understand such type of
so
things. I want to understand why it is not working and where it will work. Short solution.
Got it. Now, but see, if I say, if you go back to the screencast, all right, and if I tell you that these commands, whatever sir is using, is only for two things: either creating or deleting a file in your system. I mean, in whatever folder is there you are working with, it is only to either create or delete a file or a folder.
No, sir.
Okay?
Just I'm giving just
And
a pip.
either,
Just a pip, pip command is there. Freeze command is there. We don't know what exactly is this.
Okay, that is not a part of command line. That is more of Python, right?
Okay.
Command line.
This is also confusing. Okay, whether it is part of the Python, whether it is part of the command line.
It is command line only, but it is mostly used for Python. I mean, it is itself. I mean, pip is a command used for installing Python packages.
Yeah, this was the confusion, sir. We are not understood to bifurcate. What we are doing, we are just copying and we are doing that. So it will be easier if you have some session, half an hour session. Okay, this is such and such thing. It is working.
Yeah, but see, see, some of your friends are suggesting you go through system commands course. Yeah, system commands is completely a course on command lines.
No, that is different. The course will be there. That is different. Just overview of that.
No, but the thing is, see, if you skip first 5 minutes of any screencast, okay, let's say, because what generally is done in the screencast, initially some files are created, some listings are seen, whatever is the content.
That is very much helpful, sir. Through a screencast, we learn what exactly happening, and parallel we do on the screen.
Correct. But that is not the thing that we have to take from the screencast, is what I'm saying. Okay, what we have to take is the actual application development content. Okay, you forget about what platforms are using. If using.
But in the screencast itself, he was demonstrating that you do with me. Then we started doing it, but we are stuck. Command is not working.
That is okay. But if sir is creating a folder and writing HTML file, you can create your folder by alternative way which you know, and then start working on the HTML file, right?
Yeah, what we did in the Replit. Yeah, we did it in Replit. Yeah,
that's what. So the idea is the screencast are there to take the content from application development rather than focus on the smaller intricacies like command line things, right? Because it is definitely different platform. It is sir is using, I mean, in the screencast sir is using Ubuntu, Linux, and we have Windows. We're working Windows, so better to take whatever is whatever is starting from HTML and stuff. Before that is maybe not be relevant to that particular system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here,
in that case, you will not be stuck anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, and then remaining part, okay, how to do the similar things in Windows, that you can figure out from any resource.
Ubuntu is also Linux, na sir?
Yes.
And Linux is also Linux. Both are Linux, right?
I mean,
what is the difference between Ubuntu and Linux?
I don't want to go in that much details of Ubuntu and Linux.
Yeah, they're not details, sir. We are not knowing, so it hurts us. We are not knowing.
No. All right. So you go through the system commands.
I have never learned in my life. If I am not knowing, and I'm going ahead.
Okay.
Without knowing, I cannot go a step ahead.
Okay, got it. But no, the idea is to take the application, what is relevant, more relevant to application development.
Yeah.
Okay, if I can create an HTML file through some clicks of mouse and still work with what I want to do in HTML, that should be sufficient, right?
Yeah. It is working in Replit.
Yeah.
Replit will be sufficient, sir. All the work will be done right now because
Replit will be fine. No issues with it.
Okay. The whole course we can cover with that Replit, na? Okay. I am doing from the Replit beginning. It is helping, but sometimes it makes confusion or sometimes, yeah, why we are not knowing this? We should know this because sir is also doing, so we should also do that.
All right. Yeah, that is the thing. But see, but with that, I mean, with that in mind, you should not, I mean, that idea should not cloud the other actual importance of it.
Yeah. You are absolutely right, sir. The actual activity should not be, I think, affected by this.
Okay, this is Srinivasan here. So let me share a few things if you don't mind. So people who did system commands course, right? I mean, I had a chance to talk to them, and they are quite clear that actually putting into Linux, not just using Linux as a VM.
Absolutely right. I will try this idea.
Okay. So that way, I would request, I put it in the discourse also, that anybody who has not gone there yet, definitely use the shell of Replit, right? It will give you a pretty good idea, and it will definitely help you in system commands. If I mean, the instructor cannot say it, but I will say it openly. Don't think Windows command line as command line. That is trash. Okay. I mean, I would say that openly, but instructor won't say it. Okay. So they have to be right. So use the shell that you get from Replit. That is an excellent resource. So that will help you.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Being a strong background with that, right? Thank you very much. I am doing with Replit, so I just confusing whether we should learn that or not. That's why I asked the question. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So yes. So yeah. Some a question from Shashi. Yeah. So you can use Replit. Don't go with Linux. And later you will find. I mean, you will see that okay, it was not even that much useful because when we start
very
working
powerful.
with Flask,
Replit is good. In mobile also it is working fine. So
yeah, that's what. Fine. So Shashi, you can try Replit once. Okay, fine then. It's 11 past 6. If
thank you.
All right. If there are no more doubts, discussion can go on. But still, if there are no more doubts, definitely put your queries on Discourse, and we'll try to clear that.
Okay, sir. Fine. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So if there are no more doubts, we'll call this session off, and we'll meet in the next session on Saturday. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. We'll close this session. Okay.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
कहाँ है? कहाँ गए? रुपेश जी आए नहीं थे ना? और गुड आफ्टरनून। क्या बात है, एकदम खाली कर दिया है क्या?
खाली तो भी भर गया, वापस खाली करना पड़ता है ना।
अरे आना भी चाहिए, मुझे लगता है कि